Hi there, this is Steve Spurrier. You can join University of Florida Hall of Famer Shane Matthews and also the two-time SEC Player of the Year every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, opinions, and some of the biggest names in sports. You can find him on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Or you can watch him live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter.
Good morning. It's a live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's Friday. We made it to Friday, folks. Getting a little bit closer to kickoff. We're waiting on JC. I don't know where he is. We're going to have David Whitley from the Gainesville Sun in the second portion of today's program, get his thoughts on what he's seen or heard from camp. We have golf going on this morning. I woke up earlier than normal, watched a little bit of golf. Speaking of our Peaceland Dental golf picks, they're doing pretty well right now. I have Xander Schauffele, Thomas Dietrich, who has the best round going today, Corey Connors and Joaquin Neiman, JCS Scheffler, Fleetwood, who's playing well, Matsuyama, who's playing well, Sepp Straka, I don't know where he stands. So we'll see how. I think they got one more day of this. I don't know if it's 3 rounds or 4 rounds. I can't keep up with the damn Olympics. I would like people's thoughts on this today. This nonsense about these males playing female sports. I think people are, if you missed it yesterday, I didn't see it. I saw highlights of a women's boxing match in the Olympics. This has nothing to do with politics, but however, if you believe in men playing in women's sports, something is wrong with you. I'm sorry to say that. So I'm totally against it. I had James Bates on this when his girls were swimming at Florida, and it's ridiculous. That's all I'm gonna say. He'll tell you about the girl that swam at Penn, how the families felt when that was going on. It's totally nonsense. Reggie wants to have I ever played. Went away. I'll come back to Reggie. JC will have a huge fineable offense today. And don't know. You just can't show up, right? Just can't. You got to show up. Don't let anybody know that you're not going to show up. All right. I'm going to read some of these comments here. Ray says, Shane, you played Juliet Falls in Lecanto. Yes. Actually, I think it's in Dunellen, kind of Ocala, Dunellen. Good golf course. Tyler says she was born a woman. Well, that's my point. Oh, that's not my point. Well, regardless, she ain't a woman, apparently, according to what is out there. Reggie says anyone that thinks males should be competing with females should have their hard drive checked. I agree. And if you disagree with me, you can disagree, but something's wrong with you. I'm sorry. We can all have different opinions on other things, but that is wrong. That damn guy that was swimming in college athletics is wrong, and nobody can say it's right. So, Mark wants to know, what do I think of the new kickoff rules in the NFL? They took that from the XFL last year. Here's what I will say about that. Some people are going to like it. Some people aren't. What you're going to do is it's like an all-out blitz from a defensive standpoint. If you do get through there, if your kick returner gets through, it's one-on-one with the kicker. I don't think you'll see a lot of returns, which is good because most of the time now there's nothing but touchbacks. So if you kick it, if they have the same rules as they had in the XFL, if the ball goes into the end zone, you get it at like the 35 or the 40. So it's crucial for these kickers to kind of hit a little drop shot inside the 10 to the goal line because it requires a guy to return it. People don't like change. I think it's a pretty good change, quite honestly. You're going to avoid a lot of collisions. But anyway, Clint says JC plays from the women's tees. Is that okay? He does play from the women's tees. There's no question about that. Uh, Army Sniper says so women can play football, but men can't fight women in the ring. I don't think women should play football, Army Sniper. It's too damn dangerous. Like I said, nobody's going to change my mind on this. Y'all can believe what you want to believe, but I am so against it. And I'm going to get James Bates back on here. So all these people that agree with it he can fill you in on what it was like for his girls and the girls on the Lady Gator swim team when all this nonsense was going on. All right. Trey says they must get it on the 30. I think in the XFL they got it on like a 35 or something. But all right. Tony says Gene can go knock on JC's bedroom door and wake him up. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Don't have a whole lot to report from Gator football camp. We'll see what David has to say. I mean, they're in shorts. I will say this: they signed a kid for the 2024 class, a big defensive lineman, a JUCO kid. They signed him yesterday. He was practicing yesterday. That's pretty cool. On the Titan MR text line, Josh from Mississippi says, QB, as a play caller and designer yourself, how would you best implement what Russ Callaway brings into Napier's current playbook to maximize the players we have? I don't really know what Russ Callaway does, quite honestly. I personally don't think you're going to see anything different offensively than you did last year. Again, I don't care about what they do offensively. I think they scheme good enough to win a bunch of games. This is all going to come back to defense. All come back to defense. This is from 954, says, men should not play in women's sports, period. I agree. Daryl says on the Titan MR text line, Shane, I'm with you. It ain't the same world that I grew up in. No, it's not. It's a mess. It is an absolute mess, and it's sad for our kids, our grandkids. Somebody needs to get their asses in gear. I mean, it's bad. Wes says, I don't like how you can onside kick in the fourth quarter, and if you're losing, unless I heard that wrong. So like I said, I have not followed it. I'll look into it. They took the rules from the XFL, and what it was in the XFL, you from the onside kick standpoint, I think you can have you could go for it on like run a play on like 4th and 13. If you got it, you kept the ball. I can't remember the rules. I didn't really care when I was in the XFL about that. I'll look into the NFL, see what they're actually doing. Wes on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Yeah, there was a Moroccan gal in boxing that was not allowed to participate in some other competition because she was a dude originally. I don't think it's right at all. Yeah, I don't either. I didn't mean to bring it up today, but it's just it's just nonsense. Barone 71 QB, was there a game where you still cannot believe how your team lost and one where your team got the W? I had a couple of times in the NFL. I had some really good comebacks in the last minute of games that we had no business winning because we stunk it up and we got an onside kick through a Hail Mary. I'd have to think about that. Good question, though. Good question. Text on the Titan Mark text line. Oh no, this is from Kevin. He said, I would like to see JC box a woman. That's pretty funny. Pretty funny. All right, so I don't know where JC is today. His ass is in trouble. That's all I can say. All right. I got to get to some of these Facebook lives. Somebody asked me yesterday, I was out and about out of town at a function. And, people love these preseason rankings, depending on your teams, the SEC, quarterback play in your conference, quarterback play in the country. And I don't know if they're a fan of Graham Mertz or not, but they said that now, I don't know what publication it was, is that Graham Mertz has now been ranked like the 10th best quarterback in the SEC. He was like number 6, 2 weeks ago. And my question would be, why does the person care about the rankings? He's a damn good quarterback. And my thing would be, what made this person move him from 6th or 7th to 10th in 2 weeks? So it's all talking season. It's all about ready to be over. All right, Andy asked on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel. Shane, do you think Jaden Daniels can have a CJ Stroud type rookie season? All right. I'm going to say I think Jaden Daniels is playing for the Redskins or Commanders. I don't know who's calling plays for them. I don't know their personnel. Here's what I'll tell you about CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud is a pure passer. I always thought that at Ohio State. I thought he was as good a thrower as I've seen in a long time. He has a tremendous play caller in Bobby Slowick, who is from the Shanahan tree. His dad actually was a defensive coordinator and a defensive coach in the NFL for a long time on some teams I was on. He's very creative, but that Shanahan offense is so quarterback friendly, and they got some dudes weapons now for the Texans. So I don't know if Jaden is as good a thrower as CJ. Obviously, he's a much better runner. CJ's not a runner at all. So I don't know if that's possible or not, Andy. Good question, though. Dan's asking questions. Dan's saying you have to tell the team you're going to do an onside kick. You can't onside when you have the lead. Yeah, there's some weird rules. We'll have to learn them as we go. Matt says JC's the women's UFC. All right, so Tyler says she's from Algeria. Trans is illegal in Algeria. Shane, you have a college degree. Read something every now and then instead of believing what morons. Look, all I can say is she looks like a man. She has they've stated it in there. So I have a degree, and I'm just telling you whether we're talking about the chick from Algeria, the guy from Algeria, whatever she is. I'm talking about just in general, my friend. So if you think that, that's your right, but it's wrong, and you will never change my mind about it. And you're in the minority there, friend. That's all I can say. Gene says, QB, do you have rain gear? Will you be playing golf this weekend? Yes, I have rain gear, but I don't wear it when I play golf, Gene, unless I'm in Scotland. They have golf carts. They have the covers for your cart. It won't be raining when I'm playing. And he says, Shane, your greatest comeback was against the Browns after the game. You were very, yeah, it was a good one. We had a good one against the 49ers too. So we're all over the place today. And Baron's question on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plumbing. I think Mertz will get drafted. You don't always need a cannon of an arm. If Felipe Franks would, that was true, he'd still be in the NFL. Graham, he might get drafted late. If not, I think he'll be an undrafted free agent like I was. And I think because of his football IQ, I think he'll last in the NFL for a while as a backup. I really do believe that. There's a lot of talk. I saw somebody at this event I was at yesterday was asking me about Joe Milton. I was like, well, I don't even know who the coach is for the Patriots right now, but if they're even thinking about starting Joe Milton over Drake May, he will be fired immediately. Joe Milton has not won at any level. I guess you could say he had a winning record last year, but there's a million quarterbacks I'd rather have play for me than Joe Milton. Hunter says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel. We looked so good with scripted drives last year. Can you explain how it's implemented and the timing around when they are used? Good question. So the scripts, I've never been a big guy who likes scripts. Coach Spurrier never scripted plays, but majority of play callers do it. And what it is they have 10 to 12 plays. Here's why I say I don't like it, because you don't know what the situation is going to be. Things change. You get a sack, now it's 2nd and 25. You got to get off your script. What I like to do, and what Coach Spurrier used to like to do, is we used to, the first 5 or 6 plays, throw different personnel groupings, different formations, because then you can see, okay, we give them this formation, this is what they're going to line up in. And now you have it for the rest of the game. JC, You got a huge find, my friend. Huge find.
Man, dude, I swear to you, I'm not lying. I thought it was Saturday. I really did. I thought today was freaking Saturday.
Well, you're wrong.
I'm very wrong. I'm very wrong. I apologize. This was just a kind of a brain lapse. We got people. I'm over for a wedding in St. Augustine, and we got lots of people around, and I just absolutely forgot about today being Friday. It's Friday. So anyway, hello everybody. QB. I'm sorry, I missed the start.
Well, I've been raising hell about the females. The males playing female sports and stuff, and arguing with folks.
What is wrong with these people? I mean, there's no business having a male and a female sport. And I'll tell you another thing. I love Tom Kim at right now in golf for top 5 finish. If you want a good value, go for Tom Kim, top 5 finish, and I think you'll get paid. But no, the thing with women in men's sport or men and women's sports is absurd. It's an absurdity. It's not normal, and people need their brains fixed.
Yeah. Dan says all the steroids JC's taking is messing with his head.
Yeah. Steroid. Well, I did get a cortisone shot in the thumb, but that's I'm on the terazipatide, baby. Look it up. It's great stuff. Great stuff. Terazipatide. It's weight loss.
Silverback concrete builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it. We stand by it. All right, JC's
oh my God.
Here.
I can't believe I thought it was Saturday. It's unbelievable. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
now we got people arguing with one another on here.
Look, there's the water. There's the beach. There it is. And I'm sitting out here on island time, dude. I'm on island time. I don't even know what day it is out here. It's ridiculous. I'm just glad I'm not the guy getting married this weekend. It's funny. We got a couple older 50-year-olds getting married like they just got out
big
of college.
Shindig.
Big shindig.
Wow.
So big. Well, it's a big shindig. Everybody's coming in. I got some folks from San Francisco in town.
I had some people that were supposed to be going, and they've because they're in our golf group, and they basically pulled the plug last night and says, "I'm not going to the wedding. I'm going to play golf."
Well, St. Augustine's a great place. We've got some friends from California in San Francisco. They were neighbors of ours in Gainesville. They moved out to California for a job, and so I've got entertaining to do. It's fun. We're gonna have a great time. Weather's good, at least for now. We're gonna have a tropical wave next week. More rain, like we really need it. So fortunately, it's not going to be a bad one.
Yeah, it's going to pour. Is that when's that supposed to hit? It's going to pour.
We're looking at a lot of rain on Monday and Tuesday, I believe is the case. Yeah, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It's amazing how this thing is down there so far in the Lesser Antilles, but sure, why not just come through Cedar Key and Gainesville? Why not? I mean, we don't get any rain, right? So that's fortunately just going to be a rain event, which is not good, but it's not I don't think it'll be anything catastrophic. So
yeah. Michael says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, I watched some outtakes from practice yesterday. Our press boys put together. QB's throwing long and short to receivers. Mertz can throw a tight, fast, long ball, no problem. Yeah, he has no problem. He's got a great arm. As I've said, I've said it multiple times, and some people hear me, some people don't.
Right.
Because everybody wants to go back to like the Spurrier era quarterbacks.
Yes.
Mertz is bigger, stronger, and has a better arm than I did, than Danny did, than Jesse Palmer did. Doug probably had a little bit better arm, and Rex probably had a little bit better arm, but he's bigger than those guys. And Cresser had a good arm, but Mertz's arm is perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
He can throw the vertical pass. We know that. I mean, I want to just see some passes to Wilson this year. I'd love to see Wilson be the big shot. I want him to be the Amari Cooper of the Gators. That's what I'm looking for. Eugene Wilson, or Trey Wilson, to be a superstar. I'm thinking that's what I'm going to keep my eyes open for, and hopefully Mertz will find him because there's no Ricky Pearsall, and there's other guys.
They have a lot of receivers, dude. This is the deepest receiving crew that Napier's had.
Yes. You know who lost a lot of players is Florida State. They lost a lot of players on offense, and their game is coming up a week before ours. Should be very interesting. We've talked about it. I think Georgia Tech's going to give them a good run, but. What do you?
Jay says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. He's going to tell his boss today. I thought today was Saturday. Thanks for the advice, JC.
Dude, I am. I don't know how. I have no excuse. Find me.
Oh, you're getting fined. You're getting a pink slip. It's going to be in your locker. Bring your playbook. That means you get cut, JC.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that.
So, JC, by the way, you mentioned it briefly, but I brought it up at the beginning of the program. The Peachland Dental golf picks. Yeah. Have you seen my guys?
Well, no.
I have. Hang on. I have Xander Schauffele. Okay. I have Thomas Dietrich.
Oh.
I have Joaquin Neiman.
And
right. Corey Connors. I don't even know if he showed up. Right. You have.
Yeah.
Sepp Straka. I don't think he showed up either.
No.
You got Matsuyama's playing good. You got Fleetwood who's playing good, and Scheffler's playing blah.
Isn't Fleetwood in second place? I mean, I think we're in business.
Him and Dietrich has the best score today. I think he shot 8 or 9 under.
Well, here we are. Dietrich is 8 under today alone. That makes him 8 under total. And Tommy Fleetwood is 5 under. He's -9. And dude, we are all over this. You got Schauffele at -10. I got Fleetwood and Matsuyama at -9. You got Dietrich at -8. I mean, my God. And then Neiman, there's your Neiman guy at -6.
I bet Neiman and Daltrey or Dietrich were like plus 1,500.
Big odds. And you can still get them. They're still live. It's a 4-day event. For me, Scotty Scheffler is just there kind of just chilling out, I think. I don't think this is a big deal. I mean, he's 4 under. But I think he's done all the damage he's going to do this year until we get to the Tour Championship, and then he'll chase that money. But Fleetwood, Schauffele, what a year this guy! 2 majors, and it took him years just to, he was always a bridesmaid, and now here he is with 2 majors under his belt. There's 2 more coming at some point. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Xander Schauffele had the career Grand Slam, meaning all 4 of the majors. You win the British, you win the PGA. He's got those. U.S. Open is right there. He can win that. He's got the game for the U.S. Open. It's a different type of game. And then I certainly think he could win the Masters. So
we got a text here on the Titan War text line from Jimmy. He says, JC, did you happen to watch any of the Hall of Fame game last night?
I did, actually. I watched some of it at the Oasis, baby, right up A1A, and looked at these backups playing. And actually, for a scrimmage game, it was somewhat entertaining. The Bears and the Texans, but I didn't see who won, QB. Not that it matters, but it was.
I think it got canceled due to weather.
The weather hit him. Yeah, okay, that's why I didn't see who won. So, the backups played. Caleb Williams is going to play in the next game probably just a little bit. He's got to get some time in before the season starts. 3 preseason games. That's what they got, and the Bears are off and running. At division, QB, we're going to do our predictions for the divisions at some point here in the coming weeks. I think the NFC North has the potential of being a real slugfest division with Green Bay, Detroit, Minnesota, and Chicago. I think Chicago is going to be a lot better than they've shown, and I think.
Yeah, I think the Houston Texans. Like I said, I don't follow all the off-season acquisitions and stuff, but they were talking about it. I just had it happen to have it on at the beginning with C.J. Stroud. They got Stephon Diggs. They got the rookie that got hurt, but he had a George, what was it, Dale or something? I can't remember his name. But they got the running back from Cincinnati. What's the guy that played at Oklahoma? What's his name? Joe Mixon.
From
Whatchamacallit, yeah. So anyway, they got some dudes, man.
They are going to be favored, I think, to win the AFC South, and that's a testament to the job that the management team has done. They hired a really good coach, my guy from Alabama, former linebacker, who, by the way, never won a national championship with Alabama, but he is a great player and he's a really good coach, and they're the favorites to win the AFC South with Jacksonville Colts and Tennessee. I think Houston, you have to say Houston's favorite. And they've come from nowhere. This was one of the worst teams in football just 2 years ago. But they did a great job hiring their head coach, San Francisco defense coordinator. He's a great player. Alabama.
You know, I like to bring up silly stuff because silly stuff bothers me sometimes. JC, did you see?
Yeah.
Have you watched any of the Olympic golf?
Well, no, I'm going to today though. But I've got all
Okay,
this
I was watching it.
wedding stuff.
Are you aware? Do you know what Jay Lindenberg is?
Lindenberg? No. Who? Tell me about him.
So Jay Lindenberg is a clothing line,
Okay.
golf clothing line out of Sweden, I think.
Okay.
And do you know that's what the Americans are wearing? Jay Lindenberg.
From Sweden. No,
That just makes no sense to me.
I'm not sure.
So it's got a JL as their logo. So you'll see it today. It's on the right chest.
Okay.
USA's on the left chest. Jay Lindenberg is a golf line that Victor Hovland wears. So I just think it's very bizarre that we're wearing that.
Yeah, that is bizarre. I also think it's bizarre that we're hearing a lot of noise about how great the Oregon Ducks are going to be this year. And that's been all over the radio this week. And I got, a couple of guys on national radio, Rick Neuheisel, a couple of the others. They got Oregon winning the Big Ten, QB.
Beating Ohio State or Michigan?
Yeah. Or Penn State's supposed to be having a real solid.
Well, I haven't looked at their schedule. I don't even know if
they play the Buckeyes at home in Eugene this year. Yes, they do. But this is all about Dylan Gabriel. I mean, it's completely up to him what Oregon does.
He's in his 6th or 7th year of college football.
He is. Yes, he is. And
he's a good player. He's a good player.
He's a good player. He's a good player. I think Lanning is a good coach, obviously. I think Oregon is beefed up their interior. And I guess that's a good pick. I'm trying to figure out who other than Ohio State, Georgia, right? That's all we hear about. But Ohio State is going to Oregon this year. So that, typically a team like Ohio State that rarely has tough road games until maybe at the end of the year, once every 2 years when they go to Michigan, they're now having to travel to Oregon. That's a good thing to see. It's a tough road trip. Everybody in the South has tough road games. Nobody in the Big Ten ever has a tough road game, it feels like to me. And so, I don't consider Penn State a tough road game. Penn State loses all the big games there. So until James Franklin can win some big ones, and this could be the year. Penn State is a sneaky team. Watch out for them. But I think Oregon, I've been hearing too much about Oregon, so it makes me wonder if they're the team to beat in the 18 Big Ten team conference.
Yeah, we'll see. Jimmy on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, Shane, what would you think of a trans guy, boxer like, playing football?
My God. What in the hell are we talking about this for? I mean, this is where this is going. I don't think any
female
is playing football
that wants to be a male
is going to play football.
Because when the girl was kicking remember a couple years ago when the girl kicked for Vanderbilt? Remember that? Because I think she came out because their kickers got hurt, so she was on the soccer team. But all I could think about, and there's girls that play high school football, like kickers, all I can think about is if her field goal gets blocked, or if she kicks off and she has to make a tackle or she gets freaking clobbered by somebody. That's all I could think about.
It makes absolutely no sense. And it's not there. We can't all do the same things in life, folks. And that's what they want you to think. And I'll tell you, having boys in girls sports, that poor Italian girl who got hit by that man in the boxing match is patently and morally wrong. Okay. You do not have men. She quit, QB. That boxer quit. She just got up and said, I'm not doing this.
Oh, I know. I saw
Who can justify this? Who can justify it? Who in their right mind that has the chemicals working up there can justify that? I will fight to the day I die over this issue because this is a terrible, terrible issue. And it should not even come up. And I don't want to hear it from anybody. Boys do not belong in girls' sports. Girls do not belong on a football field or anything that has that type of physical access. You cannot. This is not what it's about, folks. And people are going to get hurt, and it's wrong. Period. End of story. And
I stay in sports.
I'm so damn tired of reading about these things.
Oh, I know. That's why I was telling people,
what the hell's wrong?
I'm going to have Bates back on this program whenever his girls were swimming. One girl's still here. The other one's at Miami. She's graduated. But when they had that guy swimming against the girls, and he would come in the locker room.
If I had daughters, I don't know how to handle it, QB.
Yeah.
You have a daughter.
Yeah.
We have friends that have multiple daughters.
It's just
like,
it's sickening.
absurd. It's
This day in sports
That's a
brought to
good
you
one.
by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life at Campus USA Credit Union, the star-studded 1996 United States men's basketball team. This is back in the good old days, the Dream
The good
Team.
old days. Yeah.
Dream Team 3 beat Yugoslavia
Yeah.
95-69 to win the gold medal at the Atlantic Olympics.
Can you name 3 countries that make up the old Yugoslavia, QB?
No, have no idea. No idea.
Well,
and by the way, we got to get to David Whitley because you're
right.
you're late.
I
You're
know.
fine. We'll have to take a poll to see if we want to bring you back on the program or not. We'll set up a poll. All right, JC, enjoy the wedding.
Yes.
Good luck
Yeah.
dancing and karaoke and all that good stuff. That's JC. Join us on the Titan No More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Take a quick time out. We'll come back. We'll be joined by David Whitley from the Gainesville Sun. Get his thoughts on what he's seen at practice and what he thinks of the Gators this year. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bill.
Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, Titan MRI, Meldon Law, Peachland Dental, QC Kinetics, Campus USA Credit Union, Dave & Buster's. Our Gridiron sponsors, Sutter Pro Painters, Comfort Temp,
Florida Victorious,
UF Bookstores, Quality Plumbing, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, F45. Our touchdown sponsors are Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, MG&A Wealth, Nest and Wild.
If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. We're going to head back to the Titan MR Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp, and we're joined by the Gainesville Sun's David Whitley. Good morning, David. How you doing, bud?
Good, Shane. Things good this morning?
Yeah, we just been having some discussions with some listeners and people commenting about the no males should be playing in female sports. So
yes, that's quite the topic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just I do not even understand how anybody even thinks that's okay. But they can believe it if they want to.
No,
all right, let's talk about the Gators have had a couple of practices. I believe you've gone to one or two. I mean, obviously the viewing period that the media gets, I don't know what you get out of it.
Yeah, well, what you get is enough content and video to post for people to go and see DJ Lagway complete a pass and go, man, that guy's going to win the Heisman.
Yeah. Or because I get on Twitter, that's where I see right. Whether it's you or, Zach, some of these other guys, Nick, they post little clips. Yeah. And if it doesn't matter which quarterback, you may not even see the quarterback throw a flat route or something. And then the receiver has to just barely turn to catch it.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the comments, it's like that guy, whoever threw that ball should not be playing quarterback, threw the ball way behind. I mean, look, people, it's comical, really. It really is. So,
it is. You get, I'm glad they let us out there for the 12 minutes they do, because, without it, God knows what, a lot of the, the instant website people would do, because, you're feeding you're feeding them, there's a great appetite for this stuff, but you really take any analysis, as you said, with a grain of salt. Because I was reading one of them and said, first day of practice, great practice, a lot of enthusiasm, blah, blah, blah. Then just coincidentally, I ran into a guy who was there the whole practice later that night. So how'd it go? He says, man, Napier was pissed at the end. He was getting on them for lack of, they just weren't doing anything, He said, you guys are just flat out here for the, but the first 15 minutes, man, it was gangbusters.
Yeah. So, I mean, the few 15 minutes that you get to see, I mean, obviously you get to see these players when you interview them in street clothes, but in your opinion, do they look the part now? Do they look like a different football team physical? I mean, like just their stature?
Well, they do. Of course, they always looked impressive to me. Even I remember 2 years ago, before that disastrous Vegas Bowl, the guys on TV were saying, and obviously things weren't looking good for the Gators at that point, but they said, even though they've got a backup QB, man, they've got some bodies down there. They're SEC, and I mean, size-wise, they still have some girth, but they got on the field, they couldn't play or play up to Gator standard. But you look at these guys, and I mean, they're physically they're an impressive lot. I think they all that stuff you've been hearing about, put on 500 of muscle and lost 550 in fat. I think that's true, but you could have the Mr. Olympia team out there. Question is, can they tackle? Can they block? Can they play? Can they play football? But I think there's no question that this team is bigger, stronger, and faster. So that's where you want to start from anyway.
Yeah, I think you make a good point. I've seen some big dudes that look the part that can't play at all.
Yeah, and
then you see some that they may not be ripped. They may kind of have a little baby fat, but they're damn good football players. So you never really know. But it's amazing to me. It's amazing to me the size of these kids nowadays. How because every parent that has a kid that plays high school football, and I got it when I was helping coach, and I get it today. They're like, "Hey man, can you send my tape to so and so?" And I'm like, "Look, if School X has not even contacted y'all or looked at your tape, they're not interested, because everybody knows if you're good enough, they know where you are."
Yeah.
And but what my point is you'll have that 5'11", 200-pound linebacker at high school that just tears it up on Friday nights, and the parents think, man, my kid needs to be playing SEC. No, mom and dad need to go to an SEC practice and watch and see how big and athletic these dudes are. It's scary. It really is scary how they are.
I mean, you're right. And that's what, Billy talks a lot about, the measurables and just the length and the wingspan and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, it's scientifically based, and I mean, you're right. There's a lot to say for a guy with a great heart and that kind of thing. But there's only a guy that comes to mind is like a Zach Thomas, who was, probably these days, he was still fun. But, he's one in a million, a guy who really doesn't fit the profile. But man, the size, it's funny. I remember I was covering FSU way back when they had the first 300-pound lineman, Pat Tomberlin. I remember the name. He was a pretty good lineman and played some in the pros. And he was 300 pounds, and people were just freaking out. Because he was just one of these big country strong, they call them. Just happened to be big. And now you think, 300 pounds. The guy Jake Slaughter came in the other day.
He does not look 300 pounds.
Oh, no. I thought he was just a dude from the construction site, because he's wearing his jeans and cowboy boots and, baseball cap. And he got, it's a great kid, and talking, and obviously, knows he's the kind of guy you want at center, because you can tell he knows everything about the offense and stuff. But you're looking at him, and I think he doesn't look like any of these behemoths that come in.
Right.
But he's what, 6'3", 297? I checked. Said, man, when you're 6'3", 297 and you're the shrimp on the line, it's if nothing else, they've got size.
Yes, they do. Andy's question for you on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mental Law. Assuming Trey Wilson will be our most productive receiver, who, in your opinion, will be the second most productive?
I think Dyke. I'm still having trouble pronouncing the kid's name, Shamir, but the kid from Wisconsin. who looking good in practice. And, he has familiarity with Mertz. Mertz, and him had a pretty good passing combo, 2 years ago at Wisconsin. And that's back when, Mertz supposedly couldn't throw a lick, and he was completing balls to this kid. And so I think he's the guy, maybe Jackson, but I would say Chamiri. Do you know? I mean, you're the radio guy. You got to learn how to pronounce all these names. But
I'll just call it, I think it's DK. His last name.
We'll
That's
go
all.
with that.
I think it's Shamir. I think Shamir DK.
Shamir
I'll find
DK.
out once I get my little pronunciation guide when I go get it from off the sports information folks. But I think Badger's going to
pity you guys because I just got to spell it right. You have to pronounce it
right. Yeah. I think Badger's going to be a good addition to the I'm still big on Andy Jean and Mizell, so we'll see. J&J Trucking on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, says, QB, when was the last time we were this deep at wide receiver with a good QB and pretty deep running back room? I think our offense is going to be scary good. I do like the skill guys we have. I would probably say from a receiver standpoint, the year we had, was it Trayvon Grimes, Tony, probably Pitts, and Van Jefferson, that crew.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this crew is like them, but I think they have a chance to be like those guys. A lot of those guys got NFL time. And I love our running back room. David, I know the average fan, the people across the country say, the Gators lose their best player in ETN. I get it. He's explosive. He had a lot of splash plays, but he also struggled doing other stuff. I don't think we're going to miss a beat at the running back position.
Yeah. As you said, the splash plays, Etienne was the kind of guy that you couldn't take your eyes off of because you never knew, he was just so exciting. He has, the Trey Wilson thing, that it factor where you're going to see some great move, I mean, Montrell is more of just your, classic good back. He goes out there and does it. He's not going to give you the highlight, maybe Etienne will. And, Etienne's going to have a great year at Georgia, I think. I mean, they'll use him right. And, people may be thinking, he got away, but you're right. I think there's enough bodies. Montrell, if I had to pick Montrell or Etienne, I would go Etienne by a nose, even though he's got his flaws. The next block he makes will be the first, I think. But but the other guy, Trayon Webb, and the other, everybody's pumped about Jaden Balk. He's, just because he's come in and he's benching, 500,000 pounds, and he had the good spring practice, orange and blue game. But I mean, I think, I don't think running back room it should be a worry at all. And that's a strength. Yeah, you're right. All the skill positions, but but the question, of course, always gets back to, will Graham have the time to throw? Will the holes be there for these guys to run through?
Yeah, I think they're going to be just fine on offense. Like I said, could we be more explosive at times? I firmly agree with that. I think every team can say that in America. But the biggest issue to me is defense. Do you think the additions, I personally think they've added some really good players that have a lot of experience on that side of the ball where we needed it.
Yeah.
But just your thoughts. I mean, you've interviewed Ron Roberts, I'm sure. Just your thoughts on him coming over, what kind of effect he will have on the defense.
Every new coach comes in and people rave, and I mean, whether they mean or not, they rave about it and stuff. But I think he may be the biggest pickup of the offseason because, I mean, you're right. Austin Armstrong, you want to believe in, but I think it's obvious last year that he might have been in over his head a little bit. And he may one day be turn into the wonderkind that people think. Obviously he's got something going on, but he needed that Yoda figure, the mentor who's been there, done that, seen it all. And Ron Roberts walks into the room and he's just got this, the thing that impressed me that he's just comfortable in his skin. He knows nothing rattles him. He's seen it all, done it all, knows it all. And I think the combination of those two is going to straighten out a lot. And, he said, we asked, what's the imprint? How will we know it's a Ron Roberts? He said, well, he said, it's not my defense, it's everybody's collaborative, but, he just said, you got to start with the fundamentals and that, the tackling and stuff like that. And he's drilled that into him because, I mean, it's an old, we beat that horse to death, but just you can't miss 116 tackles like they had. But the guys that they bought in, and the guys they got rid, some of the worst tackling ratios are now not there. And they bought, like, a guy you keep hearing about is Asa Turner, a kid from Washington, that he is a difference maker, 5th-year senior coming in, and from a quality program. I think he will be a huge addition. As you said, I mean, they needed that kind of experience at safety, because the kids, Cat Steele last year and Bryce Thornton, great prospects. They played great for freshmen, but they still were freshmen, and I think you had them and the leap they're just going to make, natural leap from freshman to sophomore. And then you bring in guys like Turner and DJ Douglas from Tulane just to stabilize that safety position. I think a big help. On the line, you hear about Joey Slackman, a little undersized, being a pin guy, but he knows what's going on. He'll be good clogging it up in there, I think. So
speaking of him, we just had a text come in on the Titan Our text line, and it's pretty long. It's about Joey Slackman.
Yeah. They're
saying that this is Mike on the Titan Our text line. It says he kind of reminds him in the few clips and interviews that he's seen with Joey, that kind of that Graham Mertz, kind of the old guy on the team who's been around the block, great leader. I don't know if you've interviewed him yet, but is that kind of how you feel about him? He's just a guy he's that one guy that I feel like he's going to play hard. He's going to have that high motor.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, that's what offensive linemen do not like. Guys that have the motor and don't take plays off. That's kind of what I see coming from him. Am I wrong there?
It sounds right. No, we haven't had it. He hadn't been available for media yet. I mean, hopefully he will, because, if nothing else, he was all academic, for the in Ivy League.
Penn Quakers.
Yeah, for the Penn Quakers. So you think, I mean, Penn's not known for football, but it is known for academics. And so he came down. So the kid's got a brain, and he's got. I mean, he's not, like we were saying, he's not the monster guy. But he's big enough, and he's got a wrestling background. So, and you're right, he does impress you as that guy who's just relentless, and you add that element. In fact, you sort of wish, man, you could take that spirit and drop it into some other guys that you've seen over the years, and say, how good would they be? But he will be a good influence, and a good guy to have in that room for other guys to model themselves after. And say, because you put him into, what you're going to get, I think, with Joey Slackman. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he does have to say when just talking to him. But that it does have that Mertzian quality about him to that, and they can use that, because they got a lot of potential on that D line too.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, we do have a lot of depth there. The one guy that I think I'm excited about the most, just because of his athleticism, and talking with Mike Peterson about him, is LJ McCray.
Yeah.
I just think, and I could be wrong, but I just think he's going to cause havoc coming off the edge. I don't know what you know about LJ. We all know he was highly, highly recruited. But do you expect him to have a big role in this team this year?
If he doesn't, I think it'll be good overall, because that means the guy ahead of him, or guys ahead of him, are just too good. But I think that you look at, there's a lot of hype about him, and you can argue, he's the defense's version of the Lagway, the guy who was such a big catch. And I mean, there's no question of his ability, and he seems to have the right attitude to get a guy who come in and could play right away. But if he was coming in to play right away and getting big reps, I think that'd be a warning sign that there weren't good guys ahead of him. There wasn't enough competition, but there is competition there. And so I think he if he does come in and he's a starter, I think that bodes very well, because he's going to have to play very well to get some reps, because of the guys they have returning there. And but he just adds to the whole competitive nature. And I think that's the key thing, is that now they have more bodies out there. Just 2 years ago, I think Billy's first team, the first 22 were SEC caliber players, and then it quickly drifted off. Now, you have your stars, but you also have guys that, you can go to your second teamers, and there's not that much of a drop off. Where, 2 years ago, it was like, it was just not, and as the season wore on and depth became more of an issue, it was a real problem. But now, there's just more depth up and down that whole lineup.
Yeah, it really is. Before we get you out of here, Tanya Ron wants to know how Justice Boone is looking. Is he 100% full go?
Seems, yeah, he's been out there practicing. And you don't hear, you've heard some, unfortunate news about, guys like Zipper and, who, he's, ACLs, everyone's different. And he's just not going to get it back for, but Boone, he's been full go, and, he's one of those spirit guys. They missed him last year. He's, talk about high motor. He's that guy. And you love him. First thing, he comes in one day and he says, ask him about his, how's he's physically. He says, I'll take off my shirt and show you how ripped I am, And I fear the day when Des Watson comes in and says that, because
we get so many questions on a daily basis about Des Watson.
Oh yeah,
and he's a hero. People love him, but I don't know if I say when he's on the field, it's a liability.
Right.
I think just goal line situations. I think they got so much depth now. I don't think he'll play a whole lot.
Right. Yeah. And it's funny. He did play a lot more, 2 years ago, mainly because they didn't have last year. You saw a lot fewer. You're right. I see it more, and you just can't help. It's the big guy syndrome, especially the really big. You just can't help but like.
He's very athletic for his size.
Right.
But
right. It's funny.
He's not athletic and quick enough to play in the SEC.
No,
if that makes any sense.
I started, reading someone pro scout saying, at practice the other day, he's really got really good feet for his size. There's always that addendum for his size. Yeah,
it's like I have a buddy who's close to 400 pounds, and he's a pretty good golfer. And me and my other buddies say we would sponsor him on a tour for 400-pound golfers, because he would whip people's butts. But he ain't good enough to play against us.
Yeah. And Debs was almost up to 500 in the offseason, they said.
Yeah.
He's pushing. He was 490, and at this point, he is what he is. After he's more or less just a fun guy, but a novelty act out there who may clog it up on the goal line. But you're right. I just don't see him more than that. And I just hope that when he stops playing football, that he maintains some sort of shape somehow. Because maybe get into WWE.
He's a guy he's a good teammate, and he's a good person to have on your team. There's no question about that. Yeah. David, we appreciate you taking the time. Let everybody know how. I guess you can still buy the Gainesville Sun, but most people read it online, right?
Yeah. Tell you what, if you're still buying the Gainesville Sun on coming up and buying the paper, you're probably also driving a 1967 Ford Fairlane.
Well, you want me to tell you somebody that goes and buys the Gainesville Sun every day?
Who's that?
Stephen or Spurrier.
Okay.
And here's the other thing. I don't even know if y'all deliver anymore. Oh. And I asked him that. He's like, nope. I get up. I drive to Publix every morning, go get my Gainesville Sun.
God love. Yeah. And he's a 77-year-old guy raised on the newspaper. I love him, but go to Gainesville.com. It's an online deal these days for everybody. Gainesville.com. And you can check me out there. And and looking forward. I just we could fast forward to August 31st and get the show on the road.
It'll be here before we know it. Here before we know it.
You're right,
David. Great stuff as always. Appreciate your time, my friend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, Shane. Take care.
That's David Whitley from the Gainesville Sun. Join us on the Titan No More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tim. Live a healthier lifestyle with our bold, flavorful smoothies and our amazing food. Tropical smoothie. When you eat better, you feel better. Appreciate everybody joining us today. Have a great weekend. And maybe I'll go watch a little practice this weekend, and we'll have a little update on Monday. See you then, folks. Take care.